So chat, can anybody tell me in a team comp, what is the one thing every single in order for any team comp to work, literally any team comp in the game, what there needs to be first? So every single team comp in the game requires a damage dealer. Let's draw this up, okay? Let's draw this up. You have a damage dealer. We'll do it as like a little sword. In order for a comp to be successful, you need the main damage dealer, right? So, in order to make sure that the damage dealer can do enough damage, what kind of unit is needed to help facilitate that? You need a buffer, support, or sub DPS. You need your comp has to have something that synergizes with your said damage dealer. And in order for you to actually play this comp in a hard piece of content, you need a way to survive. So, let's talk about unit archetypes, okay? You don't even need damage reduction if you invest it with certain shielders, like Shongli, for example. So you need sustain, you need amping, and you need a main damage dealer. Obviously, if you're mechanically good at the game, you can just go fucking solo Abyss with Kaching, and you have like C6 R5, whatever, and you don't have to do whatever. I've seen people do it before. You can literally solo this rotation with a Kaching. Let's talk about unit archetypes and how each one falls into a category. So a main damage dealer, for example, is a unit that spends 50% or more of the time on the field. However, it could also be the unit that does 50% or more of the damage in a comp. So let's talk about types of main damage dealers. The most prevalent example of a main DPS is, you guessed it, it's Xiao. Xiao is literally the exact word-to-word definition of a unit that takes up 90, he fills both of these categories. Then there's stuff like Gila, Hu Tao, Ganyu, and Ayaka, depending on who fit both of these definitions. And Raiden. Clear, Razor, yep, those two are two. Does Kokomi have... Yeah, Kokomi technically is a... Kokomi on the definition of 8. There are also some units that fall into this definition based on definition of B. The main two being Shunling or Beidou, aka sub DPS. And in some cases, Rosaria, Kaya, Idizer. So, Komi is a healer who is a on-field main DPS and consolidates two roles with a good enabling element, aka Hydro. This is Kokomi, right? One of the issues with Kokomi is her ER costs are high and her comps are resin expensive, albeit beautifully. Kokomi takes up roughly 55% of the field time on the comp to act as an enabler. So in this sense, she falls into the role of all three requirements. She's a sub DPS because she's an enabler. To amp your main carrier's damage, say in like a Sukokomon, you are using her to enable Shanling's damage. She doubles up as a healer and a buffer. This role here is like it's like the enabler, the buffer. And some units obviously fill all three roles, or like two of them, or like whatever. So like Raiden is an example of somebody who fills two. Say you are running National Team Raiden. Take a look at here. So in a Raiden team comp, as you can see, in this one she's doing like 75% team damage, but as you can see, she still has her auto attacks up until the 8.5 second mark, and her CD is 10 seconds. So she's doing the main damage and most of her comps, she's like 30 to 70% of the damage, depending on the comp, or 80%. She's like Raiden Hyper. Raiden is a unit who acts as a buffer along with her main DPS, and she fills the energy consolidation role. Raiden is a unit who can completely forego most comps, battery requirements, and significantly reduce the amount of ER was needed due to granting the team around 100 energy per Q duration. She also buffs units based on their ER costs, basically free noblesse buff. So Raiden is another example of a unit who fills more than one role. The main damage dealer, and she also actually does damage, and a damage amp, sub DPS, and energy requirements. Meaning that you have higher comp flexibility. Because Raiden, while Kokomi doesn't do this part really well, she does like this, right? And Raiden does this. Raiden does this really well. She's an enabler. She enables, like, Electro is like an enabling element. And she fills the energy requirements, and she does a very large portion of the DPS. And she has, like, more or less 90%. Or, like, not 90%, 60% of the field's on-field requirement. Some units, like Zhao, Eula, Goniel, require more assistance due to not having any of these things. So I would say Eula is actually better than Zhao in this regard because she can be run with Beta Official, Diona, or you can run Double Geo with Zarya, like some bullshit like that. Whereas Zhao, it's like strictly locked into like a Bennett plus a Nemo battery plus like Zhongli or like Toma. Yeah, Child fills the role of main DPS and sub DPS. So to recap, a comp needs 3 things to succeed: a main damage dealer enabler of DPS to help facilitate that damage, and damage mitigation. And this is for free-to-play players. And using all of these things, this is how I have 36 stars on like 150 accounts. Whales get to do this a little bit differently. Shield damage reduction healing? Yeah. So like a shield like Zhongli, healing like Bennett. Damage mitigation like a Beidou or Xingqiu. Or both of them.